am I the only one that's kind of sick and tired and over the whole Connor Stalions, Michigan sign stealing, cheating, scandal, never-ending NCAA investigation that seems to be going on? I can't be the only one. Good morning, it's Uncle Lou here. That's right, it is me, Uncle Lou, live on LouTube for you. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post pointless, barely watchable college football videos just like this one almost every single day of the year. So hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. We have a great community of college football fans here. We do live shows all the time. We have a really good time. If you love college football, you're in the right place. More news out this last week with the never-ending NCAA investigation into Michigan. And I've had a lot of people ask me about it in the comment section or on Twitter or whatever, and my thoughts really haven't changed. I mean, I kind of told y'all as this was happening in real time what my thoughts were, and they really haven't changed since then. I'm going to be honest, there's nothing that can happen that will change my mind about how I've felt kind of the entire time. Michigan cheated. Like, we all saw it happening in real time. And that's what set this whole thing apart from some of the other cheating scandals or what cheating, whatever. Michigan people get mad when you call it cheat, whatever. That's what sets this sort of thing apart from some of the other things we've seen in the past, right? You look at like something recent, like the Tennessee thing under Jeremy Pruitt with the paying recruits and players through McDonald's bags or Chick-fil-A bags or whatever it is. You find out that happened later, right? Like it happened sometime in the past, and then through whatever, some sort of investigation or someone rats, whatever it is, you find out in the future about something that happened in the past. And so you're waiting on news to come out about, okay, what exactly happened? What did they do? Who's involved? That kind of thing. And so your opinion on a situation like that might change or evolve over time. And I'm not comparing the Michigan situation to any other situation in terms of what happened or what they did or how much effect or impact it had on them as a team or what effect or impact it had on other teams or how severe what Michigan did is compared to that. I'm not comparing that. But there's an obvious difference with the Michigan thing in that we all saw it. Like, we saw Connor Stalions on some other team's sideline dressed up like Where's Waldo. Like, you at that point, you had to be a complete moron to go, well, I need more information before I come to any type of conclusion. No, you didn't need to know anything beyond that. The story had already broke prior to that, but it was a matter of weeks, and then we get that video of the game. It was Central Michigan, I believe it was, where Connor Stalions is literally on the sideline in disguise with video recording glasses on and the whole deal. Like, you didn't need to see anything else. Your mind could have and should have been made up at that exact moment in terms of what you thought about what Michigan was doing or not doing. And there was really only two thoughts to have. Number one, Michigan was cheating. They got caught red-handed, and they deserve to be punished. Thought number two, Michigan was cheating. They got caught, and I don't think anything should happen. It's not that big of a deal. There is no scenario where someone could have been living through that in real time and with a straight face go, but that's not, no, they're making this up. It was as obvious as watching the sunrise. It's like trying to argue that the sun's not coming up. I'm watching it come up right now. They got caught cheating in real time. I don't think there should be any debate or discussion about that. There are still people out there, though, who are willing to offer excuses for Michigan, and it's kind of the same sort of tired old excuses you hear anytime someone gets caught doing something they're not supposed to do, well, yeah, we did it, but it didn't have any effect or impact. Okay, well, coaches don't do things for fun. They would not have done all that if they didn't think it was going to have some sort of effect or impact. They just wouldn't. Everything they do is for a reason. Number two, everybody does it. This is the worst lazy, tired excuse that I hear anytime somebody gets caught doing anything. Well, everybody does it. No, they don't. They don't. You go back to Tennessee. Not everybody's coach and wife and coaching staff and everyone else is handing bags of cash to recruits and players in McDonald's and Chick-fil-A bags. Everyone was not doing that, okay? Is everyone doing something they're not supposed to be doing? Maybe. Is everybody pushing the limits? Maybe. Not everybody's handing out money in Chick-fil-A bags. And not everybody is sending assistant coaches or staff members to other teams in disguise to hide on their sideline to record other teams' play calls. No, everyone is not doing that. And then they go, well, that's not what I mean. What I mean is every team is trying to figure out the other team's signs. Yeah, of course they are. But there are right ways. There are, I hate using the word legal or illegal because there's nothing illegal in terms of criminality with doing that. But you know what I mean. There's sign stealing or attempts to sign steal that are within the rules and regulations of college football, and there are attempts to sign steal that are outside the rules and regulations of college football. And what Michigan was doing was outside of those rules of college football. You can argue against the rule. You don't like the rule should be changed. Great, change the rule. But what Michigan was doing was against the rules. We all saw it in real time. So to circle back to the beginning, the 2 points. I'm tired of the never-ending investigation, and my mind hasn't changed on any of it. There's nothing that can happen that would change my mind. Why is this taking so long? Now, this has been a problem for decades with the NCAA. As much as I love college football, and I do, and as seriously as I take college football, and I do take it very seriously. I earn my living through college football. I absolutely love college football, okay? This ain't no capital murder case here. This isn't a terrorism investigation. This is a college football sign stealing investigation where we all saw it happening. Like we all know. We've known for 2 years, almost 2 years, that Sherrone Moore deleted those text messages. And that's what all this is about now. We've known for 2 years. The day the story broke about Connor Stalions, I mean, the exact day, Sherrone Moore on his cell phone deleted all of his text messages between himself and Connor Stalions. He didn't just decide he needed more space on his phone that particular day. Like, we know why he deleted the messages between him and Connor Stalions. Because somewhere in those messages were texts where he was talking to Connor Stalions about the sign stealing. Like, you don't need to be a brain scientist or a rocket surgeon to figure this out. It's just insane. And part that it's taken this long. And part of the problem is the NCAA, like any huge bloated bureaucracy, has all these pointless and never-ending steps that they have to take before they finally get to a conclusion. You have to do an investigation, which should have taken 5 minutes. After you do the investigation, you got to draw up a notice of allegations. You know, a big fancy phrase there. And you got to send that notice of allegations to the imposing school, Michigan, whatever. All right? Then Michigan has a certain amount of time where they've got to review those notice of allegations. Then they have a certain amount of time where they have to respond to the notice of allegations. And then after the NCAA gets the team's response to the notice of allegations back, they get to review that. And then Michigan has a period of time, which is the period of time we're in right now, where they're afforded the opportunity to self-impose sanctions on themselves to try to short-circuit any potential sanctions that may be coming down the pike from the NCAA. And that's where we're at now, and that's the news this week. So Michigan wants to suspend Sherrone Moore for 2 games. So let's forget for a second whether you think that's the right punishment, whether you think it's too harsh, or whether you think it's not harsh enough. Let's just forget that for a second. And I've said this 100 times on videos in the past because this has come up with other teams. So this isn't just me piling on Michigan about this. This has happened in other places. If you come up, if you've determined, in this case, Michigan, the University of Michigan, in this case, if the University of Michigan itself has determined that whatever it is Sherrone Moore did or didn't do deserves a 2-game suspension, that suspension should occur in the next 2 games that are played. If Michigan comes to this conclusion in week 4 of the season, then he should be suspended for weeks 5 and week 6. Go back to 2 years ago when they made the decision to suspend Jim Harbaugh heading into the season. They suspended him for the first 2 games. Go back to the Big Ten's decision to suspend Jim Harbaugh in that same season, right? They suspended him in the next 2 games Michigan was playing. Michigan has come out and said, yeah, okay, we're going to suspend our head coach, Sherrone Moore. Not for week 1, though. Not going to suspend him for week 1. Not for week 2 either, because we're playing Oklahoma, and Sherrone Moore went to Oklahoma, and it wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be fair to suspend Sherrone Moore in a game against his alma mater. Can't do that. We'll suspend it for week 3 and week 4, which is some lower classification group of 5 school, and I think Nebraska. And to me, it doesn't matter the games or the teams. Michigan could have its 2 toughest opponents in weeks 1 and 2, or it could have its 2 easiest opponents in week 1 or week 2. My mindset is the same. If you've made the decision that a head coach needs to be suspended, or a player, or whoever else, depending on the situation, that suspension needs to occur in the next games that are played, not hand-picking. It just sets a terrible precedent. I mean, okay, so now they're going to pick weeks 3 and 4. Okay, what if the next team that decides a coach needs to get suspended chooses weeks 2 and weeks 11 for whatever reason? They look at the schedule and they say, we don't need, we can beat this team with our eyes closed. Yeah, that makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me at all. Michigan cheated. That's just what it is. Like, no one will ever change my mind on that. I've been saying the same sort of series of things about Michigan as it relates to the Connor Stalions scandal since the minute this thing broke. And then they went on to win the national title. I think Michigan cheated. I think they gained an advantage from it at some point. I don't know the amount of advantage they gained, but coaches don't do things just to do them. If they didn't think they were gaining an advantage or that they needed to gain an advantage, they wouldn't have done it. So it provided some sort of advantage. Number 2, Michigan was the best team in college football that year. They were the best team. Was part of the reason they were the best team because they were stealing signs for a season and a half? That's unprovable. You're never going to be able to argue or prove the extent to which how Michigan was cheating benefited them or didn't benefit them. You can't prove it one way or the other. Michigan fans will never be able to prove that it didn't benefit them. People who think it did benefit them will never be able to prove it did or how much it did, right? But here's the thing. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. We're literally arguing over like robbery versus attempted robbery. What's the difference? Well, one was good at it and one wasn't. You tried to rob somebody and you failed. Okay, attempted robbery. You robbed somebody and you succeeded. Robbery. It's still a crime. You still committed a crime. Whether you benefited from it or not is irrelevant to the argument of whether or not what you did was wrong. What you did was wrong. And you got caught in real time in 4K, as the kids say today, or 8K or whatever we're up to now. I don't know. But it's ridiculous that it's dragged on this long. It's absolutely insane. It's not fair to the current coaching staff outside of the ones that were there when it was going on, like Sherrone Moore. It's not fair to the kids that are on the team now that weren't on the team when this was going on. And again, sometimes there may be a reason why an investigation would take a certain length of time in order to get to the bottom of all the details. But in this particular case, which again makes it unique to almost anything else we've ever seen in terms of a cheating scandal, we all saw it almost in real time. We saw Connor Stalions on the sideline, like dressed up like he was playing Where's Waldo? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, everybody wants to debate now what the punishments are going to be. Even Michigan fans have come to the realization, finally, that they've been dragged kicking and screaming to the realization that they did cheat and they are going to get some sort of punishment. So the sort of the argument and debate now, at least in the social media world and the talking head world, is about what will the punishment be versus what should it be. And, you know, it's the usual range of kind of options that the NCAA has, everything from vacated wins and bowl bans to huge fines to show cause orders. You know, it used to, you could take away scholarships, but I don't know how much that matters now when you can just pay a player an amount of money equal to the tuition to make up for the fact that you can't give them a scholarship, right? I mean, if you're paying, how much does it cost to go to Michigan for a year? $50,000? I mean, whatever it is, right? Okay, he's making $100 in $100,000 a year in NIL money. You know, okay, well, now we're going to pay him $150,000 in NIL money, and he's not on scholarship. He'll pay his own tuition with money that we just gave him. So I don't even know how much any of that really, you know. As far as what the punishment is, I don't care what the punishment is at this point. I mean, I have thoughts on what I think it should be. I think any coach involved in what was going on should be given a show cause order, period. I mean, that including Sherrone Moore. I mean, Jim Harbaugh and a couple of other members of the staff have already been given show cause orders, but they're out of college football and into the NFL. And Sherrone Moore is kind of left behind to pick up the pieces. But look, he took the job. He took the job. And look, Sherrone Moore may turn out to be a great head coach. He may turn out to be an all-time great head coach. He may fall on his face. You know, last year's 7-5 season may turn out to be just kind of the coach that he is. I don't expect that to be the case, but, you know, all possibilities are possible right now. He's only been a coach for 1 year. It's also possible that the only reason he got the job is because no one else was going to take it. Not knowing what was coming down the pike from the NCAA. I mean, you'd have to really be going out on a limb here if you're some big name coach. I mean, Michigan didn't do no coaching search. I mean, I know it was late in the process when Harbaugh officially left to head to the NFL. Was it February? So there's not a lot of coaching candidates around anyway. But you know, Michigan just basically gave the job to Sherrone Moore because it would have been almost impossible to hire any other big name guy to come there, because they're stepping into such an uncertain situation. And that is not Michigan's fault. That's the NCAA's fault. And that gets back to why this thing is taking so long. All of this should have been cleared up, wrapped up, done, and a bow put on it the offseason after they won the national title. Whatever investigation needed to be done, whatever notice of allegations needed to be sent out, whatever negotiations need to go on between the NCAA and Michigan, that all should have been done and handled in the offseason immediately after that national title. Instead, here we are 2 off seasons later, and we still don't know what all is going to happen to Michigan as a program, what all is going to happen to their coaches that were on staff during this time period with Connor Stalions, including, of course, current head coach Sherrone Moore. We don't know any of that. And it's just absolutely insane. And that's the part of the story that I feel bad for Michigan and Michigan fans about, because it's sort of this never-ending state of limbo that you're in. You know, maybe nothing happens. Maybe the worst possible thing that could happen happens. You know, neither one of those things is happening. They're not going to get off scot-free. They're not getting some sort of death penalty or TV ban like SMU did in the 80s. Those days are over. Playoff or postseason bans have been mentioned. The NCAA can't ban a team from the playoffs. There seems to be a lot of talk about that. A postseason ban applies to bowl games. the NCAA, because the NCAA controls the bowl games. The NCAA does not run the college football playoff. They're not in charge of the college football playoff. They don't have any say-so or input into the college football playoff. The college football playoff occurs separate and aside from the NCAA. The NCAA cannot strip Michigan's national title. It's another thing I've heard mentioned. Strip them of the natty. The NCAA cannot. It's like with the Heisman Award, right? Reggie Bush has his Heisman stripped. Who stripped it? Not the NCAA. The NCAA can't strip Heisman Awards because the NCAA doesn't give out Heisman Awards. The Heisman Trust gives out the Heisman Award, and it was the Heisman Trust who stripped Reggie Bush of his Heisman. And then it was the Heisman Trust that gave it back. All of that was completely separate from the NCAA. They've got nothing to do with the Heisman, and they've got nothing to do with the college football playoff either. Now, the college football playoff, I guess, could strip the college football playoff title from Michigan, but they're not going to do that. I mean, the college football playoff hasn't said one word about the Michigan scandal with Connor Stalions. They've just completely stayed out of it. They're not going to do anything. I guess, like take last year where Michigan goes 7-5 and ends up in a, Christmas Bowl or whatever. That's the type of game that a postseason ban would prevent Michigan from playing in. That type of game. And I don't know that Michigan would really care that they got a ban from the Poinsettia Bowl or whatever bowl, the ReliaQuest Bowl or whatever. I don't know that Michigan would really care. Huge fine. These colleges have more money than know what to do with. Now, they'd rather keep the money than give it away. But, what, $5, $10, $15, $20 million fine? What effect is that going to have overall on a place like the University of Michigan? Nothing. It'd be like fining me or you $5. It's going to have no effect at all. Already talked about possible scholarship limits or reductions. That's not going to matter. They'll just pay the players tuition. So, I don't know what the NCAA can do that will have any actual effect or impact outside of sanctioning the coaches. And honestly, that's who should be sanctioned. That's who knew what was going on or whatever. So I don't know. Point is, I'm tired of hearing about it. It's dragged on way too long. Michigan is the 2023 national champions. That's not getting taken away. I don't think at this point there's anybody out there whose mind can be changed one way or the other. I will always think of Michigan's 2023 national championship as the national championship that they won during the time period where they had Connor Stalions stealing signs and got caught. Now, if that makes Michigan fans mad, well, I'm sorry. That's how I view it. It doesn't mean that they're not the national champion. And I've told you, they were the best team. They weren't cheating, like doing stuff on field, like running plays they weren't supposed to be running or whatever. They were cheating, and they most likely gained an advantage from it. But I watched Michigan play that year. They were the best team in football. So they won the national title, and they deserved to win the national title. But they were cheating. That's just what it is. There are other years I look at with kind of the 2020 national titles, COVID. Now, Alabama, there's no cheating scandals or anything like that. And just like with Michigan in 2023, Alabama was the best team in 2020. That was a really good team, especially offensively. Great team. But anytime I talk about 2020, Alabama won the Natty. That was the COVID year, No non-con games in the regular season, 5,000 people in the stands at home games. Players opted out before the season started. It was just kind of a weird season. Doesn't mean Bama wasn't the best team. Doesn't mean Bama didn't win the Natty in 2020. But when I talk about the 2020 season, and chances are when you talk about it too, it's hard to talk about the 2020 season without mentioning the fact that was the COVID year, and it was an odd year, and you had things happening that don't normally happen. And that's the same way I look at Michigan in 2023. They were the best team. They won the Natty. They were 15-0. They beat Ohio State. They won the Big Ten. They did all those things. And they were cheating with Connor Stalions stealing other teams' signs through video recording devices in the bleachers and dressed up like Where's Waldo on the sideline of Central Michigan games. I mean, that's just, I don't need the NCAA to finalize this investigation for me to come to my own conclusions about what happened. Again, because we saw this happening in real time. My mind was made up on this during the season when Michigan got caught. There news articles everywhere. Harbaugh ends up getting suspended for the last 2 regular season games. They win the games anyway. They go into the playoffs. They win it all. I said everything I'm saying right now back then on video. Go watch it. Michigan's the best team. Michigan won the Natty. They're the best team. They were also cheating and got caught red-handed. That's it. But I'm just sick of it now because it's drawn on way too long. This is not a capital murder case. There's no reason why this thing is taking years and years and years. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, you asked. That's my thoughts. Have a good morning.